So are you feminist?
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you just say the F word?
So are you feminist? Absolutely, yeah. So are you feminist? Absolutely, yeah.
You know, Statistics Canada tells us that in a few short years, almost half of this country will either be foreign-born or born to one of two foreign-born parents. So this country is rapidly changing, and our politics, our leadership needs to reflect that. And I think by telling these stories, people will identify with us, and when they look at our policies, they'll realize that the Conservative Party is their home.
I remember the first time someone explained what gender identity and a gender expression meant to me. I remember it clearly. It was right after I was elected in 2011. And I remember being shocked at myself for not understanding this, given the level of severity that it means for me as a legislator not to get that. So I think it's probably worth having that discussion here today to remind people. The term sex refers to biological differences, chromosomes, hormonal profiles, internal and external sex organs. I'm quoting from a paper from an Australian university. The term gender describes the characteristics that a society or culture delineates as masculine or feminine. So while your sex as male or female is a biological definition that is the same in any culture, what that sex means in terms of your gender role in society can be quite different cross-culturally. These gender roles have an impact on the health of an individual. In sociological terms, gender role refers to the characteristics and behaviors that different cultures attribute to the sexes. It's very important for us to understand this because our understanding of gender roles and our notion of gender is in fact fluid. I look at myself today. I'm standing in the House of Commons. I'm a cisgendered woman. Only a few decades ago, as I stand here in pants, advocating for my community, as a divorced woman, as a woman without children, I think about how I would have been perceived and what my role as in gender would have been decades ago. I wouldn't have had the right to stand here. Our rights are so precious and they're so fragile. And for us as legislators, if we cannot acknowledge when inequality exists and if we cannot rectify that, then we are doing something wrong.
Yeah, Michelle can be fairly emotional, so she was crying when the vote came up.
My rights as a woman, my equality, were won by those who came before me, who challenged the norms assigned to my gender by society, and who still challenge those norms today, and ensure that those challenges are remedied by reflection in law. The right to vote, discrimination based on gender, sexual harassment, equal pay for equal work. And there's so much more work to be done. Yet I am so far ahead of where members in the trans community in Canada are. The reality is that many people who do not conform to the gender roles associated with the sex that they were assigned with in birth, they don't do that. This is not a defect, this is not an illness, this is an expression of our uniqueness and of our humanity against what others in our society may pressure us to conform to be. And nobody in Canada and nobody in the world should face discrimination for living their personal truth. As legislators, we need to understand and acknowledge that great discrimination does in fact occur because of this.